Hello Unite, on to our next lesson. Today we're looking at histograms and stem and leaf plots. Let's start with frequency histograms and polygons. Frequency histogram is a column graph of numerical data where the columns stand together without gaps between them, like this one just down here. So there's columns, and you can see they're touching each other as well. A frequency polygon, this one here, is a line graph that is constructed by joining the midpoints of the tops of the columns of a frequency histogram, starting and ending on the axis, so down here. It is called a polygon because the graph and the horizontal axes together make a shape with straight sides. You can see here, it makes a shape. Now just in terms of how we actually get the polygon, back to what it says here about the midpoints of the tops of the columns. So basically, putting dots here, you join them up, and that's your polygon shape. This and this. If you don't do this last bit here and connect it to the axis again, you can lose a mark. So make sure you always start and finish on the axes. Alright, on to an example. I would like you to pause the video please and write this all down. Fairly wordy, but a question like this is typical of an exam in the future. So please pause the video and write this down. Okay, so part A, our table. So we're going to have our X, which is our scores, our tally, and our frequency. I believe our lowest number is 2, and our highest number is 9. So let's go from 2 up to 9. This is a fun part where we tally each of the numbers. Okay, I believe there's 4 2s. So 3s, I believe there's 3 of those. 4s, I believe there's 5. 5, there's 6 of them. 6, there are 5. 7, there's 8 of them. 8, there's 11. And 9, there's 3. And there's 45 in total. Let's just make it look more like a table as well. So let's just do this. Now I'm going to jump to part C now, because part B is a graph, which should be on the next slide. Let's just do the rest of this question here before we do the graphs. So I'm going to line this off. So part C, we want to find the mean. Now to help us do that, let's insert our f of x column as well. So remember, f of x, it's each of the frequencies times the score. So that's going to be 8, 9, 20, 30, 30, 56, 88, 27. That adds to 268. So that's my sum of f of x. By the way, this symbol here is sigma, which means sum of. So sum of f of x is 268. That's meant to be an arrow, by the way. Okay. And our average mean is going to be 268 divided by our frequency of 45, which is 5.95, blah, 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 blah. Let's round it to 6. All right, part D, the median, which is the middle score. All right, so there are 45 terms. 45 is odd. So 45 divided by 2 is 22.5, but round it to 23. So our middle score is our 23rd score. So 23rd score. You could draw up a C of F column, but I'm just going to look at it this time. So 23rd, so 4, 7, 12, 18, 23. So our 23rd score is 6, so it's going to be 6. Okay, part E, the mode. Most common, that's really easy. The highest F is the 11, so it's going to be 8. Part F, range, also very easy. Highest minus lowest, so 9 minus 2, which is 7. Okay, now part G. Are there any outliers and is there any clustering? Remember, an outlier is a score which is very different to the rest. Since these scores are all pretty close to each other, I mean 2, 3, there's no huge gaps in here, so there are no outliers. So no outliers. And then clustering. Well, clustering means are there a lot of scores kind of bunched together. Now you could argue that around here there's a bit of clustering. 5, 6, 5, I mean these ones here. A bit of clustering here perhaps. Also same deal here, you could argue as well, but nothing too significant. I mean it's pretty consistent throughout apart from here, but overall no major clustering, so no significant clustering. Because you can see there's not a lot of big scores together. I mean they're all pretty consistent overall, so yeah, no significant clustering. Okay, next slide is the graph. Okay, this is now part B, our frequency histogram and polygon. I'm going to do them both on the same graph because I'm lazy and I don't bother doing it twice. Now I guess the hard part is making your scale. So firstly I'm going to indent a couple of boxes, and then from here I'm going to start making my columns. So I'm going to indent 2 and then make all the columns 2 wide. And in terms of frequency, which is on the y-axis, the highest frequency on the table was 8. I'm going to go up to 10 to make sure I can fit it all in. So on this axis, I'm going to indent 2, and then from here, I'm going to go up by 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's my frequency. The bottom is my scores, which is my X. So frequency is F. Now scores go from 2 to 9, so I'm going to indent, like I said, a couple. I'll put my first number here as 2. So 2. And because the columns are all touching, I'm going to go 2 after each one. Like so. And hopefully that should work okay. At this point, I'd like you to pause the video, go back to your table, and fill in each of the columns to the right height. Then we'll go through it together. Okay, let's go through it. So 2 is a frequency of 4. So like this. 3 goes up to 3. 4 goes up to 5. 5 goes up to 6. 6 goes up to 5. 7 goes to 8. 8 goes up to 11. So I might just extend this up to 12 actually, so I can fit it. So 8 goes up to 11. And 9 goes up to 3. So like that. And that's actually 11. Okay, so that's my histogram. Now in my polygon, I'm going to do it in 2 different colors. So dots at the midpoints of each column. We're going to join them up. But also go back to the axes as well to complete the polygon. Like that. And that is my histogram and polygon for this data. Okay, here's a quick summary of frequency histograms and polygons. You don't have to write this all down, just pause the video and give us a quick read. I'm not going to read through all of these, but yeah, a little summary of the column graphs and the line graphs of what we just drew. Just a couple of things, like I said earlier, I mean, there's no gaps between the columns, always have a little indent when you start. So there's a gap of half a column width on the left, so from 0, always have a small gap at the start. Looks like office buildings. I mean, polygons look like a mountain. And I call it a polygon because it finishes and starts on the axis as well. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now we're looking at stem and leaf plots. A stem and leaf plot lists the scores on a data set, usually in order. It shows any clusters where scores are grouped together or bunched together, any outliers, and how the scores are spread out. They always look like this, so one side is a stem, the other side is a leaf, and every number is broken up into 2 parts. So the ones here, for example, 03, which is 3, 07, which is 7, 08, which is 8, 12, which is 12, 24, which is 24, etc., etc. Please write this out and give this question a go. Okay, so part A, are there any outliers? Or are there any obvious gaps here? I would say no. Part B, is there any clustering? We can see, particularly around here, there's lots of 30s and there's lots of 40s. So I would say in the 30s and 40s. So yes, 30s and 40s. Part C, find the mean, correct to 1. Okay, so this would involve adding all the numbers together. So 3 plus 7 plus 8 plus 12 plus 15 plus 16 and divide by how many numbers there are. If you count up how many numbers are here in the leaves, that's how many numbers there are in total. And I believe that's 30. So you're going to add, so part C, so 3 plus 7 plus 8 plus 12 plus blah, 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 plus 68. And divide that by 30, and I believe that's 36.5. Okay, then the median. Now there were 30 numbers, which means that's even, so our middle is our 15.5 term. So 15.5 term. So I'm going to count up from the start up to 15.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's in between here, 6 and 7. So my middle is right here. We can double check that by going backwards as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15.5. So yes, between 36 and 37 is definitely my middle, which is going to be 36.5. Okay, so 36 plus 37 over 2, which is 36.5. Okay, the mode, most common. Which of these comes up the most? The 8s, so 48 is my mode. Okay, so all these is the most common number we have. And then part F, the range, or highest, 68, minus lowest of 3. So 68 minus 3, which is 65. Okay, last thing for today. Now back-to-back stem and leaf plots. So when 2 related sets of data are compared, we can use back-to-back stem and leaf plots to help contrast the data. So please pause and write this down. Okay, so part A, let's do it down here. So our stem's in the middle. On one side we have one set of data which is buzz, then we have never flat over here. Now from lowest to highest, this one's going to read this way, and this one's going to read this way. Okay, so let's look at the numbers. We've got single digit numbers, we've got teens, 20s, and 30s. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Now the buzzers, the single digits, I have 8, 8, and 9. For the teens, I've got quite a few. I have 1, 2, 5, 8, 8, 9. We'll cross those off as well. In the 20s, I've got 20, I've got 22, 3, and 6. And in the 30s, I have just 0 and 1. Now notice how I kept them in sequence as well, like a column, so make sure they line up so they're underneath each other. Now please pause and try the data for never flat. So fit this into here. Okay, there are no single digits, so we're going to leave 0 blank. Don't write 0, just leave it blank. Now the ones, what do we have? We've got the 14, lowest to highest, and we have 16, and we have 19. Now the 20s, we have a couple of 4s, then we have 6, and we also have 8 as well. And the 30s, the rest of the 30s, so we have 0, we have 1, we have a couple of 2s, 2 5s, and then 6 and 7. Okay, so that is my back-to-back stem and leaf plot of all this information here. Okay, now part B. Compare the median of each brand. So, Buzz median. Now, how many scores are there? There's 15. So the middle is our 8th term. Now to get that, we're not going to use this because this is unordered. I'm going to use this. So counting out 8 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 here means 1, so 118. So 1, 8. So 18. Okay. I might just mark it down here as well, little circle. And then we also want our never flat median. Again, same deal, count out the 8th term. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our median is 30. You can also double check by counting backwards as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's definitely our median. And then part C as well, the mean. So the average. So Buzz mean. You would add them all up, divide by 15. I believe that's 18. And then the never flat mean. Again, add them up, divide by 15. I believe that's 28. And let's just answer the 2 questions. So actually part B, compare the medians. So part B, never flat median is higher. Never flat median is higher. And the mean, again, mean is higher. Never flat. Mean is higher. Okay. Here's an exercise. 902 from your textbook. But again, keep an eye on the Google Classroom post as well. And I'll see you in the next video.